Well, I really don't know what to tell everybody right now. Chris and Chris and I are so flabbergasted and bamboozled and whatever other word you want to use out of Chris Jericho's thesaurus right now. But
I'm
yeah,
sad, I'm shocked, and I'm not surprised though.
yeah, it's
I'm shocked and not surprised.
yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll address that when we get to it, of course. But prepare because prepare because my buddy Chris and I do have some bullets in the chamber. Pun absolutely not intended. Yeah, I said it before it escaped my mouth, and like, God, WWE Elimination Chamber 2021. Chris, how you feeling? How you doing? It's been a while since you've been here.
It has. Yes, I'm doing good. I'm actually glad I could be here. I've been having some uh jaw issues related to wisdom teeth, so that's been fun.
Heck
But we're
yeah,
good to go.
awesome.
We're not in pain and we're not swollen at the moment. So let's get it going.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy that I could have you join me with you and your expertise and your training. As you can see, one voice in the room tonight is Tomas. He is absent due to work obligations tonight. We miss him. He'll be back for a Revolution. So I know, boo work. But yeah, if you guys are new here, definitely consider hitting that big red subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. Chris, Tomas, and I, our co-hosts, we're all doing wrestling-related podcasts here every single month. Obviously, we're talking about the Elimination Chamber. So if you guys are new here, if that sounds like content that you'd be interested in, wrestling, cinema, definitely consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel. It helps you out. It helps all of us, really. And it's also free. It doesn't cost you anything. Also, feel free to hit that thumbs up if you enjoy what Chris and I are about to unload on everybody. Which, oh, I should have known that I was in for a rough night when the first name on the Titantron was fucking Retribution. Because
I was out of the loop. I didn't know Lee was not medically cleared tonight.
yes,
So like I was very disappointed. Like I understand them filling their spot. I understand the Fatal Four. I understand who they got. They're all phenomenal workers. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Keith Lee mark. I love the dude. He's a phenomenal dude. Like
Miss Keith Lee. Oh, awesome.
in my opinion, he knows what he knows what he's doing in that ring, inside and out. He's great on the mic. He has charisma. He's big. He's powerful. He's fast. He's agile. Keith Lee is a sports entertainer and a wrestler, and I am a fan of his.
Yeah, me too, man. He has really grown a lot on me. He is just like he's compared to like a modern day Bam Bam Bigelow, but I honestly think he's better than Bam Bam Bigelow ever was, which is a huge compliment, I think, because Bam Bam was awesome. But yeah, to your point, Keith Lee is no longer in the United States title triple threat as he was scheduled. They said it was injury concerns that Bobby Lashley caused. I'm guessing it might also be due to the fact that his fiance recently tested positive for COVID, and they just didn't want to say it on TV. But
Congratulations to them too, though.
yes, yeah, Keith Lee and Mia Yim, absolutely, sincerest congrats. But yeah, to your point, we do have a fatal four-way on the kickoff show. It's Mustafa Ali, leader of the worst faction in wrestling history, Retribution, Elias, Ricochet, and my dude, John Morrison. I told you, he needed a big win. I'm so happy for him. But,
when they were coming out, Retribution came out, Mustafa Ali, I was like, okay. I see it. He kind of has some momentum on his side, but like also he doesn't, because I feel like it's been a couple weeks since they've been on Raw, right?
I think so, yeah. Mustafa Ali comes out with his three big heavies, Dominic Dijakovic, Dio Madden, and Shane Thorne, because as you all know, I refuse to call them by the stupid names WWE gave them for Retribution. But
oh God.
So here's my first thing. Tom Phillips on commentary, he's great. I think he doesn't get enough credit, but he specifically said that Fatal 4-Way is no DQ. So here's my point here, just to show you how lame Retribution is. If it's no DQ, what's stop?
Literally, they're like the biggest guy, minus Shane Thorne, but like they're the literally Dijakovic and oh god, is his name Madden?
Dio Madden, yeah.
Dio Madden. They are bigger than everyone in that ring at the moment. Why the hell would they not be more involved?
Yeah, like as soon as the bell rings, if it's no DQ, all of Retribution should just run in there and wreak all havoc possible, and then Mustafa Ali just picks up all the scraps. But
they should have just shielded the ring and just gone after him.
Yeah,
like strength in numbers.
This faction is so lame. Vince has totally given up on them, and it's so clear. But yeah, so there was.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Giving up would imply he had any interest in them to begin with.
That's true.
It was kind of like Triple H was like, "Hey, I have these 3 awesome talent," and Vince was like, "Hey, I got nothing for him. Hey, Mustafa, I got nothing for you too. Nice."
Oh man, I mean, Mustafa Ali he's doing all he can with this gimmick, and he's cutting some pretty good promos as well. But just the whole concept of them wreaking havoc and breaking up all the performance center and just causing all this chaos and interrupting the programs, only for WWE to sign them all to contracts. So now they're getting paid to run roughshod over doing the exact same thing. Like,
Mustafa Ali is a weird heel for me. I don't know. I can't get behind him as a heel.
Kind of like
how what it is.
He
seems like too much of a nice guy.
Kind of like how I think Johnny Gargano is too nice of a guy to be a heel.
His heel is so cringy. I watched an NXT episode like through for the first time in a while, and like, oh god, Johnny Gargano as a heel.
Yeah.
Okay. There are different forms of heel. You can ride a heel multiple ways, but the character that they have him playing like right now, it's so cringy.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny. I was telling Tomas this last week, but I think The Way might be my favorite act in NXT, if I'm being honest. Like, they're just legitimately funny. And like,
is it like this weird family vibe they got going with Candice and Johnny being the parents and like
yes. And Austin Theory's like his teenage son. But, point being, like, Ali, by comparison, is a serious heel. And, like, I totally agree with you. I don't know if I could, like, buy him as, as this leader of the big vigilantes who are coming in and breaking up the program. If you could call them vigilantes, but with their...
Literally a group of massive human beings with talent across the board. And then you put little Mustafa Ali as the front man.
Yeah. He did do a cool quadruple neck breaker thing in this match. I mean, the wrestling was fine. I have nothing negative to say about it here. Elias does a sit-out chokeslam at one point on Ricochet, which looked really great. Elias was pinning somebody, and then Shane Thorne pulled Elias off of the pin. And here's another indicator of where the show is going booking-wise. Shane Thorne pulls Elias off the pin, and do you know what Elias does?
No, I was folding my laundry during this. So I was like, I saw the entrances, and then I was folding my laundry, so I was like in and out. I was like, it's the kickoff.
Because Michael Cole said a couple of years ago the kickoff show doesn't count anyway. But but point being, Shane Thorne pulls Elias off the pin, and he does absolutely nothing. He just points at him, and he's like, "Stay out of my business, Jack." And I'm like, "What are you doing, Elias? Punch this guy!"
like clothesline him, do something.
Yeah, Ricochet eventually, who by the way is the only babyface in this match, he goes on a tear. He goes on a tear, and then Dijakovic and Madden pull him out of the ring, hit the high incident on him. Mustafa is laughing at him, and then freaking John Morrison rolls up Mustafa Ali, and he escapes with a 3 count.
I saw that pin. I like how he rolled him up through the rope.
That was
That was
cool.
cool.
I really liked how he stacked them up too, and he he gets out of dodge and he starts laughing at how stupid Retribution is for being distracted by Ricochet.
Okay, I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I totally agree with him. I mean, I was like, is this a sort of a rocket push? But then I realized it's just the kickoff. But John Morrison wins. He becomes the pinfall guy in the triple threat match later on tonight. So it's just kind of, yeah, that's how it is. I can't go higher than 2 3/4 for this one just because it didn't end up mattering all that much. But I mean, I'm happy Morrison got the win. I just still can't help but laugh at how stupid Retribution is. Still, like, they haven't figured it out.
No, they're really, honestly, they're just card fillers at this point, which is very sad considering the talent they have.
It's a damn shame indeed, for sure. But hey, you want to know what match wasn't shameful on this show? The opening contest, the Elimination Chamber match. Winner faces Roman Reigns immediately after the match. As to what we've learned. Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, Baron Corbin, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. This match was awesome. I really liked this.
The opening is bittersweet for me, honestly. I loved the chamber match. I loved it.
It was great.
Let's just keep talking about the chamber match.
Yeah. Sami Zayn, I wrote down a quote as he entered the chamber. He's like, oh, for crying out loud. He's playing this character perfectly. Sami Zayn did not want any part of this Elimination Chamber whatsoever. He wanted out of there as fast as he could.
Okay, so I was slightly disappointed that they didn't let him bring his documentary crew into the pod with them. Dude, I wanted them to go in the pod with him. That would have been hilarious.
Oh man,
the three of them crammed in, and Sammy's trying to do the documentary, you see this? You see what's going on? And they're just all cramped in there. I'm like, I would have loved to see that. That would have been gold.
That'd be really funny. And Sami Zayn would have sold that wonderfully. I actually kind of wish that did happen instead of the referee just ejecting them because they were just out there. So Omos can accompany AJ Styles to the match, but the documentary crew can't.
Dude,
I don't know.
If I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times.
I'm using logic.
Use logic.
That's going to be a recurring theme in this podcast. I could feel it. But as I suspected, Daniel Bryan and Cesaro start the match, and it's a freaking wrestling clinic. I freaking loved their exchanges. They go for about 5 minutes, and King Corbin enters, and he starts throwing these lads around like nobody's business. King Corbin actually looks really awesome in this.
Corbin, see, to me, Corbin had the filler spot. He had no business being in this match, in my opinion. You had Daniel Bryan, who's been talking trash to the champion for weeks. You have Cesaro, who has just turned babyface and is on that kind of push. You have Zayn, who's been just trash talking constantly. He snuck his way in, so that's a good story. Owens and Reigns have been going at it for a couple months now. And then Uso's there as, the backup for his cousin. He's in there just to,
He's like the surrogate. Basically.
He's there to weaken the playing field for his cousin. Corbin.
Hey,
he's
at least
feuding with the Mysterios. I had no idea. I did not see how he fit in here. Yes, okay. Him and Zayn defeated the Mysterios to get into this match, but they kind of just threw him in here, in my opinion.
I think they should always do qualifying matches for stuff like this, for the Chamber, for the Rumble, instead of just declaring. I'd rather just have qualifying matches, but
I'm cool with qualifying matches. Yes, I'm enjoying this tag team qualifying thing now that they're doing. I don't know if that was a Mysterio specific thing.
Probably. Probably, because Ray can't wrestle without his son anymore, apparently, on TV. But Yeah, I mean Baron Corbin. I mean, give the devil credit where it's due. He looked really awesome in this. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro were bumping like crazy for this guy, and he runs roughshod over the chamber for about 5 minutes. I don't know what happened. So Sammy's pod opened, and then Sammy tried to close it.
Yes.
Like he tried to close it. It was Corbin that was waiting for him, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I didn't write that down, so thank you. Sammy wants no part of it. Eventually, Cesaro.
So Corbin gets attacked by Bryan. So Bryan and Corbin are going after it. Zayn thinks he's safe. Meanwhile, the ref opens the other side, and Cesaro just casually walks up. Surprise, mother.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Cesaro. Cesaro beats the ever-loving crap out of Sami Zayn, and he just relishes in that. But no eliminations here, I don't think. Yeah, not yet until Kevin Owens comes out. Sami Zayn hits a haluva kick to Kevin Owens' pod after trying to team up with him. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be interesting, isn't it? Yeah, he haluva kicks KO's pod and he's hurt for a little bit. Oh, okay. So one of my favorite spots of the match, actually, later on, kind of jumping around a little bit. Sammy's climbing up the chamber wall for some reason, and Cesaro's following him. I don't know if he was trying to find a way out. There's no way out of the Elimination Chamber, really. So
I think he was just trying to get away. It
yeah,
looked like he was. He tried to go across a couple times, but obviously there were spots that had to be worked.
right.
And that's why he was going back and forth and back and forth but I think he was trying to just get across the chamber, and we get to Cesaro chasing him down. They spend a little time up on top of Uso's pod, but then Zayn finally starts to make his way across the front, and Cesaro chases him down, meets him in the middle, and then they have a little interaction, which ends with Zayn taking a tumble straight to the floor of the chamber.
Looked nasty.
And then Cesaro, being the Swiss Superman cyborg muscular meathead he is, starts doing pull-ups on the chamber.
That was one of
mid-match. Who is tired?
One of my favorite chamber visuals of all time, and this is coming from a guy that was sitting on the floor when John Morrison was spider walking on the dome of the old chamber, and Cesaro's now doing pull-ups on the roof.
Okay. A personal opinion, I like the old chamber better.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about this new chamber I've just not liked since they brought it in. I feel like the old chamber looked more dangerous. It had more exposed steel to it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The flooring around it, between the pods.
Yeah.
In the new one, it looks padded. In the old one, that looked like steel grate.
It was literal steel grates, yeah, and they've switched it out for the outer ringside padding. I mean, I kind of get why they would switch up the design of it, maybe to make it a little bit safer per se. But in kayfabe, if they're still building it up the most dangerous match in WWE,
that's making it safer. That's another thing. In my opinion, since they have changed the design of the pod, it kind of feels like they've child-proofed it. It doesn't feel as hardcore as it did in the old chamber. I went to one of the old Elimination Chambers. I went to the one where
I was there too. I was there too.
Were you?
Yeah, the one in Oakland.
If we were at the same one and we didn't even know it.
Oh, yeah, the one where Edge and Rey Mysterio went at it for a while.
Dude, we were at the same pay-per-view.
Yep.
We didn't even know each other yet.
Yep, there it is. Mark out moment right there.
Wrestling. It connects the world.
Yes. Yeah, but funny story about that. Just a little bit of a sidetrack. I don't want to say I missed most of that chamber match with Edge and Mysterio because where I was sitting on the floor, the pod that I was closest to held the Big Show inside of it, and he was the last person entering the match. And I
so
was like,
you had a
I had to
in
look
front of you.
around the Big Show to see what was going on inside the ring. But I mean that with no disrespect, but that's just a little side story there. Just showing you how much we love the Chamber. It's a big part of our fandom. But I do agree with you. It's a lot bigger, so there's more space above the pods themselves, so they can jump off them a little bit easier. Because they were doing that like with the old style, and it was really, really difficult for them to execute spots off of those. So
Yes,
to that extent,
a very crouched RVD doing a 5-star frog splash off of the Chamber when in the old design.
And making sure Triple H was not able to breathe for the rest of that first ever Chamber match. But so I kind of understand. So Baron Corbin and Cesaro are in the ring. I don't know if Baron Corbin was bleeding from the mouth at this point. I don't know if I was just seeing stuff, but he does tap to the Cesaro sharpshooter, and he's the first one out.
Yes, he taps to the sharpshooter after Cesaro. Oh, I can't think of the word.
Wasn't a
okay? So on Friday, on Friday night during the tag team match, he tried to Cesaro tried to swing Corbin right after he swung Zayn, I think, and like he was having issues, like he couldn't get either the momentum or he was tired. So that was like botched on Friday.
Yeah.
But Cesaro swung Corbin tonight. So I'm like,
he did. Yeah.
Yes,
Corbin's a big dude too. So Cesaro getting him around, like, definitely very impressive. Okay, this is the point where Owens and Zayn reunited. I was getting ahead of myself earlier. But they reunite by Owens volleying Zayn off of the pods back and forth, the empty pods in the corners. Great little reunion there. There was a sick landing off of an electric chair that Daniel Bryan had at one point, and I was really concerned because he was grabbing at the back of his head area, and I was like, oh no, that's it. Mm-hmm. But no, thank God he was okay. Kevin Owens goes on a cannonball spree. All three guys down in the corner. Great little spot right there. And then Jey Uso enters the match at this point.
Yes.
And they get to punching each other. And the match becomes really, really freaking awesome. Just great wrestling all around from all five of these lads. Just finishers galore. Kevin Owens is doing a moonsault off the pod, exactly to my point I was just making. Has perfect space. He can stand straight up on the pod and he moonsaults off, hits everybody with it. And then I believe he ousted Sami with a stunner, if I remember right. I think Sami was the next one. Okay. So Sami leaves. He gets his wish. He's no longer in the Chamber match anymore. Kevin Owens, there was a very creative elimination of him. He gets his arm trapped in the door, the main door to the Chamber. And Jey Uso is super kicking him over and over and over and over again. And I was like, that can't be comfy with your arm trapped in the door. Like,
no.
That cannot feel good. I'm pretty sure it had to have just been one more super kick. I don't think he hit an Uso splash on Kevin Owens. But Kevin Owens is the third one out, which actually I really liked that move because Kevin Owens, as you know, has had 2 or 3 chances against Roman Reigns, so good booking. We get somebody different.
I'm glad he didn't go over. I did not want him to go over.
Me neither. As much as I love him, I wanted a different little match right here. And I still did not get that match tonight, long story short. But getting ahead of myself again. Daniel Bryan had a bad leg also that he was favoring. Cesaro had a bad shoulder. Yeah. And Cesaro does one of the most impressive swings I've ever seen with only one leg, and it's Daniel Bryan's bad one. Cesaro's freaking awesome, man.
Cesaro does another swing as well with Uso, where he rams him into the cage.
Sick.
Just
it was
back
sick.
And forth.
Oh, man, that was... Props to Jey Uso for doing that. I wouldn't have had the guts to do that. Jay, man, Cesaro and Bryan started the match, as we mentioned. They're really going at it at this point. And Jay is hitting Uso splashes on both of them, and he pinned Cesaro. And I was really upset by that.
I was also. Cesaro was my pool for this match.
Me too. Me too. You know, why can't we just have nice things? Why can't Cesaro just be propelled to the top? So close and yet so far away.
Literally
but
so close.
Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. This one's easy. I wonder who's gonna freaking win. Jimmy Uso. I keep mixing them up still, and he's a singles wrestler now. Jey Uso is super kicking Daniel Bryan, and he's having none of it. Bryan hits Jey with a running knee, and he pins him. Daniel Bryan wins it. He's meeting up with Roman Reigns immediately after this, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I really, really liked this chamber match, Chris. I would probably give it 4 1/4. Really great wrestling throughout. Really good booking, and again, good to see a different match per se for Roman Reigns at this point. But yeah,
the Elimination Chamber, I will say, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.
nice.
It was good. I liked most of the guys in there. Again, Corbin, he was kind of a filler for me. Sure, he played the big guy role, in my opinion, which was nice. It was his part. He played it well. He had good spots. He worked well with the guys. It was a good match. I am disappointed in the finish. No hate on Daniel Bryan, but I didn't want him to win this one.
Yeah.
I wanted Cesaro to pull it out, or I wanted Jey Uso, because that story-wise would have been okay, because then you would have had Reigns come out and be like, lay down, take the pin.
Yeah, and then Jay would have refused, so that could have been interesting. But I mean,
I don't know. I was okay with Daniel winning if they gave him the whole night and it was the main event.
which it certainly wasn't. Because up next, Universal title match, Daniel Bryan challenging the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, who walks right out, and Daniel Bryan is still favoring the knee, and the ref is like, can you go? And he's like, yes, I can go. And Roman's like, come on, dog. You know? And Chris is already upset about this.
Okay. For those of you who are new to this wonderful podcast and this game we play, I do not like Roman Reigns.
He's a prick.
I don't like, and he's playing a good character right now where he's either spoon-fed all this stuff, or like his character has pool in the backstage, and like, you know, he calls the shots and it's his show. And I was just like,
Roman Reigns is the authority figure now, usurping the McMahons.
I think he's over pushed. He is over pushed at this point. You know, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That we left that when he was a face.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is very over pushed. He needs to not main event WrestleMania.
You know he's going to. You know he's going to.
Picture. I know. They already announced it.
They did. But let me just sum up this match real quick. Daniel Bryan gets up. Roman goes for a spear. And Daniel Bryan does a beautiful counter into a yes lock. And Roman looks terrified. And I was like...
They gave us hope.
They gave us
hope.
A little sliver of hope. And then Roman literally unclasps Daniel Bryan's hands and mauls the absolute shit out of him. And then Roman just chokes Bryan out with the guillotine. This match did not go over 3 minutes, I want to say.
I barely 2.
Yeah, so I don't think I can actually rate this match. It's just Roman being a manipulative prick. And like it was all about setting up the big angle for WrestleMania because as Roman is celebrating, to our point, Edge, the Royal Rumble winner, spears Roman, points at the Mania sign, and he's like, I'll see you there. That's your main event of WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. Edge challenging Roman for the Universal Heavyweight Championship. I'm excited to see it. I think that was the best move for Edge, honestly. But Edge versus McIntyre wouldn't have made sense to me. Chris?
No, okay, Edge versus McIntyre, I get. That does no. That's McIntyre has way too many challengers on Raw right now. He does not need Edge to get thrown into the loop. With Edge picking a fight with Reigns, this means Edge will be on SmackDown for a little bit, which will be nice.
That was Edge's stomping grounds for a while, so I'm happy that he's going back to that.
Edge looks, I don't know if it was the shirt he was in, but Edge looks freaking phenomenal right now.
Yeah.
That dude looks like ripped. Like he got lean and mean.
He's in the best shape of his life, man.
Literally, time off will do that, man. Like these guys are on the, well, not right now, obviously, because of everything going on in the world, but like when they were on the road, these guys would be on the road. They would be doing shows on the road 300 plus days of the year. You're tired. You're constantly working. You don't have that opportunity to get a good workout. You don't have that opportunity to get a good diet. So when you see these guys take time off and they come back in phenomenal shape, it's because they've had months to just tone and change the physique because they don't have all that time spent on the road and like having to get fast food late at night after a show because they're hungry. They had the opportunity to just do the plain chicken and rice for a while and just work on their physique. And that's why guys come back more muscular or thinner and, you know.
Yeah.
So he's in really, really good shape. I'm digging it.
I honestly can't wait to see that match either. You know, I think it's going to be really freaking great. But SmackDown, whereas they're killing it on the road to WrestleMania, Raw is not. They are not. So
I feel so bad for Raw. It's like as soon as they had the Fox deal and SmackDown became the flagship show, freaking Vince was just like, all right, Raw's a dumpster fire. Everyone hang on.
Well, SmackDown was always my show anyway. But yeah, so we do get our first Raw segment of the night with Bad Bunny, the 24/7 champion, backstage. And The Miz approaches him after Bad Bunny had his successful stint on SNL last night. And Bad Bunny is mocking The Miz for not having a championship around his waist. This will be important for later, even though he was Mr. Money in the Bank at the time. I also liked how we were referring to Drew McIntyre as if he was still the champion, but to live in simpler times. Speaking of championships, triple threat match for the United States title is up next. Bobby Lashley defending against Riddle and John Morrison, as we discussed earlier. This match was really fun. I really liked this match.
I did too. It was Bobby Lashley is a freak of nature.
Yeah, you think? You think?
He can throw any man of any size across the ring just because he feels like it.
Yes.
Like Keith Lee, he's not a small dude.
No.
He's decently tall. He's built, and he's what, 300 plus at least.
Yeah, like 320, something like that.
Bobby Lashley has proven that he can pick that dude up and toss him.
Yep.
That's really hard, even with no assistance.
No assistance. No. But Lashley was throwing these two smaller gents around like they were just absolute pieces of trash. Even though they're not pieces of trash, I love both Riddle and Morrison. Um, but
Morrison, yes. Riddle, eh.
oh, come on, bro. Come on. Riddle's I like him. I like Riddle. He's fun.
No,
but
not say bro and talk about Riddle in the same conversation.
that's his gimmick, though. That's his gimmick. It's literally calling people bro, and he has his flip flops. He comes out in flip flops and wrestles. Listen,
anyone could be a stoner and have long hair and go to the ring barefoot and flip flops.
like Rob Van. No, he never wrestled barefoot. But
No.
I actually kind of got the feeling that Morrison was wrestling a little bit babyface in this.
I think they're gonna turn him soon, especially
Please.
after tonight.
Anybody who's a writer for WWE, do this for me. John Morrison's a much better babyface. He does not need to be the Miz's sidekick for longer than 6 months or whatever it is.
If he's a heel, make him a solo heel.
Yes.
Don't pair him with someone.
He is not meant to be someone else's lackey. He is too good for that. But Riddle and Morrison actually do double team Bobby Lashley for a little bit because that's literally what they have to do if they want to beat this guy, which is good psychology. They realize that Lashley's wreaking havoc and they have to form this unlikely pair.
And I like that. I like how Morrison started that. It looked like he went to Riddle, like he had the veteran kind of wheels turning, like no. Let's that guy.
He had the savvy. But we also do get, we get the floating bro, we get the Starship Pain, we get all those things. Lashley's kicking out of all of them. I think he hit a Dominator at some point on Riddle. Not sure if Riddle kicked out of that. He must have, but no, what happened was Morrison hit the Starship Pain. Lashley kicked out of that, and MVP, who is at ringside, and he's injured, so he has a crutch on his whatever his injured leg is. I don't know which side. But regardless, right. MVP has a crutch because he's legitimately hurt. And he starts arguing with Morrison about, you really thought that was going to beat him? And Morrison just walks outside, jammers with him a little bit, and he takes his crutch away. And he's like, okay. And then Morrison takes it into the ring. Lashley puts on the Hurt Lock, or the full Lashley, whatever it's called right now. And Riddle, from behind, the sneaky little bro, picks up the crutch and clobbers Lashley with it. Not once, but twice. Pieces are flying all over this Thunderdome, and Lashley...
All the meanwhile, MVP's outside as a heel, forgetting the rules. He has a weapon. He has a weapon.
No disqualifications. You can interfere, MVP. Retribution figured that out by the end of their match. But yeah, so Riddle basically, Lashley's out of the equation after the crutch shots, and Riddle picks up Morrison and hits the bro Derek and gets a 3 count. Brand new U.S. champion Matt Riddle. I could not be more pleased with that, and Kris is judging me right now. He doesn't like Riddle. What's wrong?
Okay, I'm not gonna hate on him because I know people like him.
Yeah.
He gets over. That's why they gave him the belt. I just don't see it. I don't think he's that great of a worker. I don't get his character. And he talks a lot of crap backstage.
Yeah.
I get it. Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, I get the part-timer / MMA fighter. You want to get in the ring with these guys to prove yourself. But at this point, you're not coming off the right way.
he had a beef with Seth Rollins for a while, which apparently was brushed under the rug recently, because they did have a big interaction at the Royal Rumble that I completely forgot to mention the last time Kris was here. But Riddle does have a tendency to rub people the wrong way backstage. I do agree with you there. But you know who else did that was Shawn Michaels, and look where he ended up. So
Yeah, but that was a different era. That was a way
true. Good
different
point.
era. Nowadays, if you're green, do not rub people the wrong way. Like bad things will happen to you.
And he's only going on his 6th year in the business, so he's still still got a ways to go, you know. But I think giving him the U.S. title this way, and keep in mind Lashley wasn't even pinned either, so that's how much I liked this match. You know, it was well booked. They did not pin the dominant looking champion. 3.5 stars. I liked it.
I'll give it 3.5 too. I'll give it 3.5 as well. I was thinking about lowering it because Riddle, but Lashley and Morrison, they're great workers. I liked the story they were telling.
Lashley looks like a freaking killer, man. And I think
give him the belt.
You know, at least it wasn't the WWE Championship like someone else got tonight. I have to constantly remind him. We're not there yet. Nia Jax, Shayna Basler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair for the women's tag titles. Sasha and Bianca actually do make a good team until they turn on each other next month at Fastlane.
Way to ruin that. All right. But yeah, no, I agree. They work great together. They are like, I don't know, man. I was not expecting this team, but they were fluid. They
clicked. They clicked, man. It was, you know, I think this is honestly a really, really effective way to build up chemistry for them before they eventually go at it at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's title.
If Sasha didn't have the championship, I would have wanted them to go over tonight.
Yeah, which actually gets me into my big issue with this match booking-wise. So basically, so Shayna Basler, I thought, was also really, really great in this match. You also noticed how You also notice how she took a bulk of the work for the heel squad too, because she's
gotten a lot better since
she really has
gotten here.
Shayna Basler is someone who her run in NXT I didn't really enjoy all that much because her matches were never really all that impressive. I actually found her matches quite boring and repetitive.
She was like the female Brock Lesnar of NXT.
Yeah, except Brock Lesnar had more entertaining matches. But so Shayna, she's really grown on me, man, and her chemistry with Sasha, I'd like to see them go one-on-one for about 20 minutes. That'd be really good. You'll also notice how Nia Jax took a minority of the work because, that's your SmackDown Women's main event on the other side, and you don't want to injure either one of them before that match. But Nia, I wonder if Nia has to hit a leg drop in every single match because of that that thing she uttered in that tables match with Lana. I feel like she just
my hole.
Yes, I feel like she has to do a leg drop every single time now. That another topic for another time, surely. But the finish of the match comes around, and Reginald, who is Carmella's sommelier, gets involved, and apparently he's smitten with Sasha Banks, and he tries to toss her like a champagne bottle or whatever it is, and Sasha wants no part in this. And then Nia fucking Jax hits her finisher, and she pins the SmackDown Women's Champion to retain. if this leads to Nia getting a title shot at Fastlane, I really don't know what to tell you. But I can't go higher. I can't go higher than a 3 on this. Personally, they kind of booked themselves into a corner with this.
I agree. I will give it a 3 as well.
Yeah, I thought the work was good.
Yes. Belair, I'm a fan. Always have been. Banks, she's hit and miss with me because of her feud with Charlotte, where she'd win it and then lose it the next night, and then win it and then lose it the next night. But her teaming with Belair, I like that. I saw something there. That was nice.
Yeah.
Basler did phenomenal work tonight. She's grown so much. Nia Jax, I don't want to talk about. Dude.
Yeah, big gaping hole in this storyline, huh?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Reginald making an appearance. We always like him.
Yeah, we always like him, but Carmelo is nowhere to be found. Is he just like not with Carmella anymore? Like
I don't like. Okay, did you also see the clip they played of the Friday Night SmackDown?
Reginald pinned Nia Jax.
Apparently, he was in a match.
Yep. So apparently, if Nia Jax pinned Sasha Banks and Reginald pins Nia Jax, that must mean that Reginald is greater than Sasha Banks. Why doesn't Reginald go after the SmackDown Women's title? But I digress.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God, here we go. You ready? You ready for some rants, folks? WWE Championship is on the line inside the Elimination Chamber. Drew McIntyre is defending against Sheamus, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, and Jeff Hardy. The cage was actually here's a pro. The cage for the main event was lowered at 5:38 Pacific Standard Time when I was watching the live feed. Quick show, already at the main event, and it's 5:38. But Sheamus, as per the Gauntlet match on Monday, is entering the match last. I love how Mike Rome also had to explain the rules of the chamber match as if we didn't see one an hour prior.
It's the Royal Rumble all over again. It's traditional Survivor Series 5-on-5 match every time. We always got to go over it.
Yeah, you always got to go over the rules, even though there were two in the same night.
You know what I really think it is?
What is it?
Filler.
Right, yeah. 5:38 Pacific Standard Time, that's what'll happen for sure. But this was interesting. Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton started this, and I did not expect them to. I was expecting the workhorses like Kofi and AJ to get in there and start it off, or maybe, if anything, Kofi and Randy Orton to play off of their rivalry, but no, it's Jeff and Randy. I believe it's typical Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. You've seen this many times before. But Drew McIntyre is the third person in, and he is cleaning some house.
Mm-hmm.
He's cleaning some house. McIntyre is hitting big, giant suplexes on Jeff Hardy. He's bumping like crazy for the champion. Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, you've seen that match a million times, so nothing's really changed there. This is where the match gets interesting. Kofi Kingston's pod opens, and Kingston and Orton start freaking clobbering at each other. I believe Randy Orton, no, he didn't even go for an RKO. Kofi Kingston rolled him up and stacked him up, and Orton is out, the first one gone. And Randy then hits an RKO afterwards on, like, I think he hit an RKO on everybody as he was leaving. Yeah, he did, because that'll play to our next little thing. But before we get to that, I, for one, was expecting to see The Fiend back tonight. But we did not get The Fiend. Randy Orton just leaves.
No, like, I was very confused and surprised by this, because I'll be honest. This elimination chamber match, the WWE one, unlike the Universal one where it was minus Corbin, I saw most of them in the title picture. Orton, yes, he's been on and off with McIntyre. Good fit. Sheamus, this is a new kind of feud right going on now with him and McIntyre. Like, best friend turned on him. So I saw that. AJ, I gave it to him because he's champion material. He's been in and out of the championship picture for a couple months since he's lost it, like a while now. Kingston and Hardy were kind of just in there, and
they were wild cards.
I was confused at why they were in there. Like, no offense to anyone in the match.
Yeah, no.
But like, they didn't make sense in there. And then Kingston just pins Orton.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that.
It's great. It's great. I love Kofi. You got okay.
I would have thought Hardy or Kingston would have been first to be eliminated, but like,
no, it was Randy, and he just leave. I like seeing him gone that early made me think that there was going to be some sort of big angle at this point with the Fiend, but no, I think they've got to be saving that for Raw or Fastlane even. Like they can't go any later than that with this damn Fiend angle because they've got to set up that stipulation match for WrestleMania. Like I was pitching, they should stretch it out like until Mania for months now.
But I wonder if he's like hurt or something because like I don't think he had a match on Raw and
the Fiend was burned to a crisp at TLC.
No. Orton.
Oh, Orton.
So his last couple pay-per-views have been like super short appearances, and I barely seen him wrestle on Raw. Is he like hurt? Is he like just taking a chill right now? Like
I think he's just running weird angles with Alexa Bliss and the Fiend right now. So like he was in the Rumble match, but I don't know. They got to tie up that story sometime. You know, you can't wait until the week before Mania to do that. But yeah, Orton's gone, and then we get to one of the most interesting spots in this entire match. So Sheamus and AJ are still left in their pods, and Orton has RKO'd every single person that's legal. AJ, knowing he's next, then tells Omos at ringside to tear off the plexiglass that's behind him so that he can jump to the outside, go all the way around, and then enter the chamber as Randy is leaving prematurely. Now, in character, this makes sense for AJ. He's a wily veteran. He thinks of things like that. And he has a big personal colossus, as they call him, because they don't want to call him a bodyguard for some reason. But, yeah, AJ uses that to his advantage. But here's where I have an issue. Nobody at ringside bothered to stop AJ from doing that. Absolutely nobody were to tell AJ, hey, if you enter early, you're going to get disqualified or something. But, I mean, they can't say that because there's no disqualifications in the chamber match. But that bugged me. That bugs me immensely.
So I have two things about that. One, I might have said this already, but just stop thinking with logic. Two, I'm not mad about it. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen an elimination chamber because, like you said, it's no disqualification.
Yeah.
Actually, the elimination chamber has always been no disqualification. The reason it doesn't seem like that is because they're just trapped in there.
Yep.
Sure, you can interact with the environment, obviously, but you think no disqualification. What do you think? outside interference, foreign objects, the normal kind of things that would get you disqualified.
Right.
What I want to see that we've never seen before, at least I don't think we have, is someone escaping the chamber like Styles did, but also another person escaping the chamber and have some people fight outside around it, get weapons involved.
Oh, so there's like so it's like multiple people inside the pods, or just multiple pods released at the same time?
Like you got guys in the chamber,
Right.
guys outside the chamber.
Oh, so like
like
they're fighting to get inside? Almost?
Yes and no. I like they're just like the doors just open and they're just fighting.
Yeah, that could be interesting. That could be interesting, yeah.
Maybe they add the stipulation like you have to pin or submit inside the chamber.
Yeah. Maybe they do that. And maybe next time you don't bring out any bodyguards, because you can't bring out a documentary crew with you. AJ brought out his bodyguard, and then Adam Pearce comes out and ejects him. To everybody that's thinking that AJ Styles is wrestling Adam Pearce at WrestleMania, I disagree with you. This is leading to AJ Styles versus Triple H, I think, because like here's the thing, because I read an AJ Styles interview like a month or so ago, and he specifically said that he really wants to wrestle Edge at WrestleMania this year, but if he can't get Edge, then he wants Hunter. He's obviously not getting Edge this year. So I think AJ has some pull backstage to get Triple H in the ring again. But that could be just me. That could just be my theory, but I could be completely wrong, but we'll see what happens. But Adam Pearce ejects Omos from ringside for letting AJ Styles into the match prematurely, and then everybody just keeps on wrestling like nothing happened. Like AJ was already let into it, and they go for a while. Sheamus enters the chamber last, and it's a freaking just like the first chamber match. It's chaos. That's what the Elimination Chamber is. It's pure, unadulterated chaos. Not bloody chaos this time, because you can't have blood right now. But you can't have blood from the forehead or blade jobs or anything like that. But Drew McIntyre, go ahead.
A couple things on Sheamus. When he was in the pod, he was throwing out some looks. That man looked like he was gonna mess everyone up.
He looks like a killer.
I have not seen that look from Sheamus ever. He was just in there. At one point, he had his back turned to the whole ring. He was just looking outside the freaking pod, and he was just like,
yeah. It was probably the most intense I've ever seen Sheamus, if I'm being honest.
I was seeing this, and I was like, Sheamus is going over tonight. That like this is a done thing. Sheamus is going. That
was my prediction
of everyone behind me. Prepare, because like I'm gonna destroy this place. He looked like a wild animal in a cage, and I was like, let him out, let him out.
Oh, I really, really wish Sheamus would have won tonight, but no, they get to fighting. Drew and Sheamus do. Kofi Kingston, there was a point where Kofi goes up to the top of a pod, and there's a big pile of bodies in the ring, and he does his damn trust fall off the pod onto everybody. No,
I don't know when he started doing that. I don't know why. I don't like it.
Thank you.
It's just a half-assed spot. He's just like,
I specifically remember saying this on another podcast like this, but Kofi did a trust fall, and I was getting so much grief about it because, like, no, the trust fall is cool. But I'm like, no, Kofi is literally trusting his opponents to catch him. Like, what was stopping all of them from moving out of the way? He was willingly giving himself up off the pod.
So it's literally it's probably the safest high spot in the freaking world, but it's
Yeah.
also, in my opinion, it's just the laziest. He literally just jumps and turns to put his back towards. He starfishes. He gives his opponents the most amount of space to catch, and he just falls on top of them, and they just, oh, he got us.
If this were a real fight, and this is coming from a big Kofi Kingston fan like myself, if this were a real fight, Kofi Kingston should never do that. He should never put his trust in his opponents to catch him, you know?
I want to see him do it to Joe, and Joe do his thing where he just walks away.
I think he has done that before, but
That'd been hilarious.
yes. But shortly after that, Kofi Kingston is eliminated via a brogue kick. Jeff Hardy's a house of fire all of a sudden, dropping everybody with the twist of fate.
His twist of fate that over the years has become the twist of stunner.
The twist of stunner, yeah. Well, it depends on how the opponent takes it, for sure. But he goes up to
how to take a face bump anymore.
He goes up to the top of a pod, and he looks like he's about to hit Styles with the Swanton, but he moves out of the way. So he looks over at Drew and Sheamus, who are out here, and he's like, whisper in the wind out to Drew and Sheamus, and then he goes to the other side of the ring, hits the Swanton on AJ Styles. Why he couldn't have just done that from the top of the pod, I don't know. But he does hit that, and then he's eliminated immediately after that by a Claymore.
So I called that. You could tell, because if you watch Jeff Hardy when he's in the ring, as soon as he hits the Swanton, he'll stay on the ground and go for the pin. As soon as he fully stood up, I was like, he's going to get hit with a Claymore or a brogue kick.
Yep.
Clockwork, Claymore.
Sure enough, there it was. There it was. Jeff Hardy's gone. We're down to 3. Man, this was Styles. I don't know what happened, but he hit a springboard like senton, which was supposed to be a 450, but then he just did it over again.
I think he couldn't get his balance, and he kind of just, at that point, he was already mid-air, so he just tried to fake a flip.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, it worked. Hey, AJ Styles. Yeah. There's a reason why he's the best wrestler on the planet. He can improvise like that, and it still looks intentional.
He tried again and got it the second time.
Yes, absolutely. Drew McIntyre hits a future shock DDT, a move I have not seen in a long time, and I loved that. I marked for it. Sheamus does hit the bro kick on Drew McIntyre, and then out of nowhere, AJ hits him with the phenomenal forearm and pins Sheamus. It seems like the Drew Sheamus feud is already over.
I'm not mad about that. I didn't want the Drew Sheamus feud. I kind of wanted them to be a tag, in my opinion. But like, I saw where it was going. I understand. I wouldn't have been mad at it. But I'm intrigued with the AJ and Sheamus feud, because they're both heels. So my question is, are they going to turn AJ face? Because a face AJ with a face almost, I could get behind.
I could get behind that too, because Omos has proven himself to be really funny backstage too. And AJ is an affected babyface. And you can't turn Sheamus again after he just turned heel on Drew. So I think if they were to do that, AJ would have to be the one to turn. But yeah, no, he pinned Sheamus. It's down to Drew and AJ. AJ goes for a forearm, and one of my favorite Claymores ever. He catches him in midair as he's going for the forearm, and boom, he's done.
As soon as he hit the Claymore midair, my first thought was, Randy Orton, you think you're the only one that can hit your finisher in midair?
Out of nowhere.
Claymore.
Claymore out of nowhere for the 3 count. But Drew McIntyre is still the WWE champion, and they're playing his music, and they are raising the damn chamber. because out comes Bobby Lashley. And he beats the absolute ever-loving fuck out of Drew McIntyre.
The freak of nature that can throw any man of any size.
Yes, and he is softening him up. He's got him in the full Lashley. Drew is dead at this point. Who would have run out but The Miz, who already unsuccessfully cashed in one time at TLC, but was given the briefcase for God knows what reason. He runs in, gives the timekeeper the briefcase, rings the bell, skull-crushing finale, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, in 2021, The Miz is the WWE champion once again. Now, listen, everybody. I have nothing against The Miz, despite what a lot of my thoughts on these pods have always been. He's cool. I think he's legitimately funny. I think he can deliver a good promo well. He already had one bad run as WWE champion, and that was 10 years ago. So I don't know what makes WWE think that this would work a second time. and to add on, The Miz is also scheduled to wrestle a match against Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. So I'm seeing everybody on Twitter being like, oh, it's The Miz versus Bad Bunny for the WWE Championship. I'm like, no. Do not expect The Miz to hold this title for more than 2 months. Actually, don't expect him to hold the title past Fastlane.
Yeah, no. See, the thing is, they could put. I agree. I don't expect Miz to hang on to this that long at all. But the question is, who would they put him with? Because
right,
McIntyre has his rematch clause, but after the beating he took from Lashley, that has to be a feud.
I think so too. You know what I think it is? I think it's at Fastlane. I see Miz, Drew, maybe throw Sheamus in there, but Bobby Lashley has got to be in that multi-man match somewhere. It's going to be like a 4-way, maybe a 6-pack challenge for the WWE Championship, whatever you want to do. Bobby Lashley has got to come out of that match with the belt. And
you think so?
Yeah, like, after that beatdown,
Lashley has his rematch clause too. But do you think they're going to do that during like a Raw episode?
They could do that at Fastlane. Because there's one more pay-per-view until Mania. But I think, honestly, after that whole angle, I think we're getting Lashley defending the title against Drew, only for Drew to win the title back this time in front of fans, like he should have had last year. But, you know, obviously unforeseen circumstances did not allow fans last year. But, hey, I think this angle was only done to transition the title on a heel so that Drew can get that big moment in front of people. So, yeah, don't expect Miz to hold the title for more than a month, y'all. Because
I will be honest, I was kind of surprised at how it turned out this evening. Like, Lashley, after he lost the title, looked like he was just going to go on a rampage and mess anyone up that got just even close to him.
Yeah.
And then they had that little backstage bit with Miz and MVP.
They did. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is this about Morrison in the U.S. title match? What is this all about? And then Lashley comes out and beats down an already beaten Drew McIntyre, and he stands there and looks at the Titantron. And all of a sudden, Miz's music hits, and he comes down with the briefcase. And I'm just sitting there thinking, is Lashley going to let this happen?
Yeah, he did.
Lashley just manhandled the champion.
Mm-hmm.
He could go into a feud with McIntyre for the title right now, But instead, this pissed off, just lost his title, Bobby Lashley, who has the champion in the palm of his hand right now, let The Miz cash in and win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if this is me just turning my wheels, but there has to be something there.
The Miz must have paid off the Hurt Business. He must have made a bargain with MVP or something. I don't know what's gonna happen though, dude. But Drew's winning that title back at WrestleMania. I can sense it. I can just sense it. Miz is not holding the title for very long. Miz.
Okay. Let's not count him out, because everyone thought the same thing going into Mania when he had the WWE Championship back then.
Right, but
what did he do? He went into that main event as champion,
and he won.
Came out as champion.
He did win.
He went up against who?
He went up against Cena, but Cena was in a feud with The Rock. You know. Yeah.
He could go against McIntyre, but it looks like McIntyre is going in a feud with Lashley.
Yeah, it's a mess, this WWE title situation. But if The Miz is wrestling Bad Bunny at WrestleMania in a tag match,
I doubt that is going to be a thing.
Are you sure? Are you sure they're really pushing this angle? I don't think they would be just putting Bad Bunny out there on TV for no reason, like repeatedly. Unless
he's
was
the
actually
24/7 champion right now,
with the most worthless title on the main roster right now, and he was mocking The Miz for not having one. The Miz is gonna mock him now.
The foreshadowing.
Oh boy, yeah, what an oxymoron that is. But I don't know, man. I'm definitely curious to see what happens next.
After tonight, I have okay, I saw it coming as it unfolded, a few seconds beforehand. I'm like, okay, I feel like this is gonna happen, and it did. But you ask me, if you told me yesterday that the stuff that happened tonight was going to happen, I would have been like, Miz winning. No.
Miz winning the WWE Championship, even though he unsuccessfully cashed in a TLC already. But anyway, yeah. Well, I think we ranted ourselves dry. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, definitely, Kris. Thank you again, my friend, for stepping on the show. This was very therapeutic, I think, for me. I don't know if I can speak the same for you, but yeah, definitely look out. It's all the viewers who've made it this far. Thank you all so much for sticking with us. And we're doing wrestling podcasts just like this every single month, and we have a busy month ahead of us on the channel. We are looking at not only Fastlane, but I also have a retrospective continuing that 2002. We're looking at No Mercy, and then we're also going to be looking at AEW for a little bit because Revolution is coming up in a couple of weeks. So yeah, stay tuned for those. Going to be tons of fun. Definitely expect Kris and expect Tomas back here. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're new, if you haven't already, and hit that thumbs up on your way out. It would really help out the channel, just like Kris did right there. Yeah, that just about does it from us. With all that being said, back talk commence. Goddamn, Miz is the champion.